Let me ask you a direct question. How many more times are you going to watch politicians get speeches about crypto regulation? How many more deadlines are going to quietly pass? How many more headlines are going to say, "any day now," before you start asking why the people who are supposed to move this forward keep stalling? Because something happened this week that most people in this space completely missed. Not the price action, not another tweet. I'm talking about a move that tells you exactly where the financial system is actually heading, and more importantly, who already knows it. What I'm about to break down is not being explained to retail investors the way it should be. So if you've ever felt like the big picture doesn't quite add up, stay with me, because today, it's going to start making sense. Welcome back to Crypto Regency. I'm not here to hype a price target or chase the noise. I'm here to pull back the curtain and show you the structure behind what you're watching. Today, we're breaking down 4 separate developments, and by the end of this video, you're going to see they are not 4 stories. They are one story. The RLUSD signal everyone is misreading. Let's start with the hard truth. Most people saw the 69 million RLUSD minted on the XRP ledger this week and called it a headline. They posted it on social media. They said bullish and moved on. That is completely the wrong way to look at it. Then, same day, another 19,655,000 RLUSD minted. And where did it go? Straight to Gemini. That is not a coincidence. That is a pipeline being tested at scale. Ask yourself this: why would you route that volume specifically through the XRP ledger, and specifically to one of the most regulated, institutionally facing exchanges in the United States? You do that because you are building the rail system for something far larger than a stablecoin launch. Here is the concept most retail investors don't understand. A stablecoin mint is not just printing money. It is a liquidity injection event. When that liquidity routes through the XRP ledger, it is a live demonstration that the XRPL can handle that throughput, that settlement, that traceability, at the speed institutional players demand. RLUSD is not the destination. RLUSD is the on-ramp. And every mint is a signal that the system is being stress-tested for something much bigger. The math behind the stablecoin stalemate. Now let's talk about why the stablecoin legislation is actually stalled, and the math will tell you exactly what is really happening. The core fight is this: banks do not want stablecoin holders to earn yield. The crypto industry is trying to thread a needle. No explicit interest, but backdoor APY through membership programs, staking rewards, and loyalty structures. Same outcome, different label. Here is why banks are in a panic. The average U.S. savings account is paying under 0.5% right now. If a regulated stablecoin can offer even 2% through any mechanism, you are looking at a mass migration event. Not millions of dollars, trillions. The cross-border payments market alone moves $150 trillion annually. The Nostro Vostro system, the pre-funded accounts that banks park capital in just to handle international settlements, has $27 trillion locked up doing nothing, earning nothing, just sitting there as collateral. That is $27 trillion in dead capital that a well-designed stablecoin on a high-throughput ledger could unlock. Think about that math. If you free up even 10% of that $27 trillion and route it through a liquid digital dollar on the XRP ledger, you are talking about $2.7 trillion in newly efficient capital flowing through a network that settles in 3 to 5 seconds and costs a fraction of a cent per transaction. The banks do not want that math to go mainstream. That is why the bill keeps stalling. This isn't a policy disagreement. This is a survival calculation. Now I want to address something I get pushback on constantly: the idea that BlackRock and Ripple are building something together in the background. Let me lay out the facts and let you connect the dots yourself. In 2008, the U.S. government called BlackRock to clean up the toxic mortgage mess. In 2020, the Federal Reserve turned to BlackRock to manage its emergency bond buying program. There's a pattern here. When there is a systemic crisis, BlackRock is the firm that gets the call. They are not reactive. They are positioned. Now listen to what Larry Fink, the chairman of BlackRock and the chair of the World Economic Forum's Financial Committee, has been saying publicly. He has stated directly that a true global digitized currency would eliminate money laundering because everything would be identified, everything would be traceable. He is describing word for word what the XRP ledger already does. The XRPL has a built-in compliance layer. Every transaction is traceable, observable, immutable. Fink is not describing a concept. He is describing an already built system. And what does BlackRock want to do with the financial system? Tokenize it. The World Economic Forum, where Fink sits at the top of the financial architecture, has identified tokenization as an $867 trillion market opportunity. The XRP ledger was purpose-built for tokenization. These are not coincidences stacking up. This is institutional positioning happening in plain sight. While retail investors are staring at daily charts and asking when the price is going up, the architects of the next financial system are signing partnerships and building infrastructure. They do not move without certainty. They do not gamble. They position. The CBDC sunset clause nobody is talking about. Here is the development that I want you to pay very close attention to. A CBDC ban just resurfaced in U.S. banking legislation, specifically banning the Federal Reserve from issuing a retail central bank digital currency directly to consumers. And the provision sunsets in 2030. Let that land. The ban expires in 2030. That is not a permanent prohibition. That is a timeline. By 2030, the expectation written into the legislation itself is that the infrastructure will already be in place. The pilot phase, the stablecoin era, is the bridge. You cross it, build the rails, and by the time the sunset clause triggers, you are not launching a CBDC cold. You are flipping a switch on a system that has been running for 5 years. The stablecoin bill does not pass this year. The market structure bill is looking unlikely before the midterms. That might frustrate you, but here is what that delay actually means. More time for institutional accumulation. More time for infrastructure to be built. Every month this drags out is another month where the system gets more complete and the supply available to retail gets tighter. We are moving from an era of abundance to an era of scarcity. Not tomorrow. It is happening right now, in slow motion, and most people will not notice it until the window is closed. The XRP ledger's total supply is fixed at 100 billion tokens. That number never changes. Of the roughly 55 to 57 billion currently in circulation, exchange reserves are tracking at multi-year lows. Tokens are leaving exchanges and moving to cold storage at a rate the on-chain data is flagging clearly. When a token moves to a multi-signature institutional vault, it does not come back for a 10% gain. It is gone from the liquid market, potentially for years. Once the regulatory gate opens, once the Clarity Act passes, once the stablecoin framework is settled, once the ETF flows accelerate, the risk premium that currently suppresses the price evaporates. The wait-and-see capital becomes all-in capital almost overnight. The question is not whether that moment is coming. The question is whether you are positioned before it arrives or watching it from the sidelines. I know this is a frustrating time to hold. I know watching legislation stall for the 4th time feels like nothing is moving. I know the red days create doubt. That is exactly what they are designed to do. As an analyst, I am trained to separate noise from signal. The noise is daily price movement, political theater, social media FUD. The signal is RLUSD volume scaling on the XRP ledger, institutional infrastructure quietly being completed, a CBDC ban with a built-in expiration date. Larry Fink describing the XRP ledger's core value proposition in public interviews. Being early feels exactly like being wrong, right up until the moment reality catches up. The people who held through 2020, through the SEC lawsuit, through every "it's over" headline, they are not complaining about their position today. History does not reward comfort. It rewards those who pay attention when the room is quiet. The question is not whether the structure is being built. The structure is being built. The question is who will still be holding when the new financial system goes live. So let me bring this full circle. RLUSD minting at scale and routing to institutional exchanges. A stablecoin bill stalled because banks know what digital yield migration looks like. A CBDC ban with a 2030 sunset baked in because the infrastructure will be ready. And the chairman of the world's largest asset manager describing the XRP ledger's exact value proposition in public. This is not four separate stories. This is one story, and you are watching it unfold in real time. Price is a distraction. The structure is the reality. Stay patient. Stay rational. And as we always do here at Crypto Regency, we don't wait for the future. We plan for it. If this kind of deep dive analysis is what you come here for, drop a comment below and let me know which part of today's breakdown landed hardest for you. Subscribe if you haven't, because the next chapter of this story is coming fast.